Easily the most prominent storyline for the Rangers has been a rash of injuries in 2018. Now they'll be without their general after he was forced to leave the game last night. So they turn to a group of young warriors to lead them into battle and fight off their enemies.
That's what you love to see. It's a game for the kids. Bringing them out to the ballpark on a Wednesday night for the final game in this three-game series. The Oakland A's and the Texas Rangers. Rangers looking to take one of these games and avoid the sweep here at home. Hey, the kids on the field too. Isaiah Kenner-Falefa, one of them leading the way. Welcome in, folks. I'm Dave Raymond with Mr. Ranger Tom Grieve, and it's a pleasure to be here tonight in hopes of a Rangers win. They need one on this homestand, no doubt about that. We got some bad news last night. Late in the game last night, we saw Adrian Beltre unfortunately come down with another injury.
Yeah, and with all the injuries the Rangers have had in April, this one really hurt. And when you look at the way Adrian was playing, what he means to the ball club, it's just tough to replace. Unfortunately, the last couple of years, the hamstring has been a problem. Last year, on August 31st against the Astros in Tampa, the hamstring struck on a fielding play. In yesterday's ball game, he lined what looked like a double to right center field, came up lame about halfway to first base. For the season, Adrian was hitting .310. If he didn't hurt the hamstring, that would have been his 9th double, which would have been the league-leading 9th double. So he means so much to the ball club. He's off to a great start. Just heartbreaking to watch that happen last night.
Yeah, on a night where you and I spent half the broadcast talking about how much fun it is just to watch him every night. So. That was the bad news last night. Now, the good news today for the Rangers, they get somebody off the disabled list. Doug Fister back to the rotation.
Yeah, it's nice to have Doug back in the lineup, that's for sure. A veteran guy, adds presence to the ball club, adds presence to the rotation. He got off to a good start this year. In the Rangers' second ball game of the year, his first start against the Astros, he got a win, pitched 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, only 1 run in that ball game. He hurt his hip. He went on the disabled list, rehabbed it. He has come back. He's under no restrictions tonight. The bullpen's a little bit labored, and if he has to throw 90 or 100 pitches tonight, then he should be fine with that.
Off day tomorrow, so the Rangers can stretch things out a little bit if needs be. One thing they'd like to see stretch out a little bit is this lineup and some offense. Against a guy, Kendall Graveman, who's struggled, you look at the top 2 home run hitters for the Rangers. Shin-Soo Choo and Joey Gallo. Hey, they've done it against Graveman in the past. Let's put them in the spotlight when we come back.
Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. All right, just about set for the finale. Yeah, threatening skies. We saw a lot of rain this afternoon, but it's cleared up in time for baseball. The Rangers and the A's, we were talking about it before the break, but our Shiner Box Spotlight. Let's put the two biggest home run hitters for the Rangers in the spotlight tonight. They've done it against Graveman.
Yeah, they've been there before against Kendall Graveman. Last year on September 17th, Shin-Soo Choo in Oakland, right down the line, went deep. Joey Gallo on April 3rd of this year, right down the other line in right field in Oakland against Kendall Graveman. Graveman for the season has given up 7 home runs, given up 14 hits per 9 innings, and hitters have hit .340 against his sinker. So he's been struggling, and hopefully Shin-Soo Choo and Joey Gallo will be at the top of their game and help ignite some runs tonight for the offense.
Offense that could use a little bit of help. We talked about it in the open. Adrian Beltre on the disabled list. For more on his situation, let's check in with Emily Jones.
Yeah, the good news is it's just a grade 1 strain for Adrian Beltre, but they are going to be without him for the time being. Of course, that just adds to the laundry list of players the Rangers have found on the disabled list this season. The likes of Adrian Beltre, Rougned Odor, Elvis Andrus. The list goes on and on. It really changes the complexion of this lineup. But when you look at the guys that are in that clubhouse remaining and guys that are veteran presence in that clubhouse, you look at Shin-Soo Choo, a guy that's been through this situation before, back in 2015, when this team got off to a really, really rough start. It suffered so many injuries only to come back in the second half, make the postseason. So guys like Choo having those conversations with the younger guys that this can be done, and imploring them to really use this opportunity to show what they've got at this level and fill in and, you know, kind of play loose and free. And that's kind of the atmosphere we saw in the clubhouse, despite the bad news we got about Adrian Beltre today. So this team really trying to keep things light, just focus on one game at a time and see if they can't dig themselves out of this hole.
Yeah, I like it, Emily, and it is true. The guys, the young guys, they've come in here and kept it very loose. It's been surprising almost how comfortable they have looked. Guys like Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, certainly right at the top of that list. What a nice job he has done. Today, his first career start at third base. Let's take a look at the A's lineup tonight. 13 wins and 11 losses. Matt Joyce takes over in the leadoff spot. Then Marcus Semien, Jed Lowry, Chris Davis, Matt Olson in the middle of things. Matt Chapman, their third baseman, bats 6th. Mark Hanna again in center field. Stephen Piscotty in right, and Bruce Maxwell getting his first start of the series. So they're ready to go. So is Doug Fister, and he doesn't monkey around, right in there with strike 1. Fister, among the many things one might observe about the righty, is he likes to work quickly. 34 years old, just activated off the DL for tonight's game. The right hip strain, well, knocked him down for a week and change now, but good to see him back in there. Had a Joyce 1 and 2 and just missed.
Yeah, the other thing you can notice about Doug is he's the only one on the field right now in a short sleeve shirt. No sweat sleeves.
Oh, nice play by
that was a nice play. Seen a couple of nice plays down there, and there is a common theme to the nice plays, and that is they have a glove on. Let's check this one out. Whoa, what a play. Question is, could the guy behind him have made the play in his bare hands?
I don't think cleanly.
Doubtful.
Kiner-Falefa couldn't quite get to that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Joyce. Yeah, you got a ball and you got a Story. Is that a first baseman's mitt?
Looks like it.
Well, then that's illegal. You can only use that at first base.
Outfield with a first baseman's mitt. A2000 Wilson model. Ronald Guzman goes with the Rawlings model.
Well, Joyce doing good battle here with Fister.
Joyce is not playing every day. He's just playing against right-handed pitchers for the most part, which is, I guess, maybe 2/3 of the time. He's already walked 17 times. He just barely got the bat on that pitch, right off the end of the bat. He's tied for second in the league in walks. Hitting .232 with a .413 on base percentage.
Yep, that's the big number right there, .413.
That's why he's leading off.
Ooh, checks his swing and watched a very borderline pitch right there.
That's the second pitch of the at-bat that has been right there. The second pitch of the at-bat has been there. Two of them right up in that upper corner that were close, but not quite close enough to get the call. Well, already it's a 10-pitch at-bat to start the ball game.
From the standpoint of what a leadoff hitter tries to do, Joyce has certainly accomplished that. This ball hit out to right field, and Chu able to get there. One away, but 11 pitches to get it done.
Well, let's take a look at the pitches that Doug Fister likes to throw. The fastball frequently, 61% of the time. The cutter, that looked like the pitch that Joyce was jammed on and hit to right field just now, 19% of the time. Also a curveball and a split finger that works like a changeup. A good assortment of pitches, a lot of movement on his fastball. And there it is right there. Good sinking action.
Jumps ahead of Simeon 0-1, and now a ground ball hit up the middle, and Simeon is on. So first hit of the night for Oakland.
Simeon is off to a pretty solid start. You can see by the grip that that was a two-seam fastball. Had movement that brought it closer to the hitter. And Simeon still got the good part of the bat on it. Hit a nice sharp ground ball to center field.
He's got decent speed too. You have to be aware of his presence. 2 steals and 2 attempts this year. Oakland has chosen not to run very aggressively in this first month of the year. And now a strike in there to Jed Lowry. Here's Bob Melvin, their manager, who's played it somewhat conservatively. To his credit, he may be making the right decisions because they have scored a lot of runs. 1-1. Lowry right now, maybe the best overall hitter in the American League, at least by the numbers. You look at the OPS, up over 1,000. Lowry a switch hitter hitting .363.
And we've seen it in this series and talked about it. The gap power that he has. Not a home run hitter, but he can drive the ball to the gaps.
Drives this one out to right field. Chu goes back, makes the catch. Simeon got better than halfway to second. He'll have to return.
The Rangers defense is delivered to you by Methodist Health Systems. Joey Gallo is out in left field. Delino back in his regular spot in center field. Shin-Soo Choo will play right tonight. Because of the injury to Adrian, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa moves to third. Jurickson Profars at short. Drew Robinson gets an opportunity to play second base. Ronald Guzman, the Condor, is at first base, and behind the plate is Juan Centeno.
So now Chris Davis. Davis at .258 with 6 home runs. Just 1 for 8 in this series with a double. Shoots it out to right field again. Chu coming on and toward the line, goes out to a dive to make the play. Well, what can he do? Made all 3 outs in right field.
A nice play by Shin-Soo Choo coming in. Great concentration. An all-out dive. Last out of the inning. Nice play by Shin-Soo Choo.
right, so scoreless top of the first inning. Now the Rangers go to work. And they will lead it off with center fielder Delino to Shields. Shin-Soo Choo in right field. Jurickson Profar at short. Mazara the DH. Then it's Gallo, Kiner Falefa at third base. Guzman the first baseman. Juan Centeno catching. And Drew Robinson at second base. All against that man, Kendall Graveman. 0-4 with an ERA over 10. It has been a struggle for Graveman this year. 6'2", 210 pounds. He's just 27 years old. And he goes 1-1 on to Shields. Good numbers against Graveman, 4 for 7. And Delano, you look at the overall number, you see a 211 average. You say, well, wait a minute, hasn't he been better than that? Well, this is just the 6th game in which he has played. He's only had 19 at bats. The numbers can fluctuate wildly when you have that few at bats to work with. A couple hits today, he's like at 400. It's crazy. A little exaggeration, but it'll improve rapidly.
He throws a sinker about 90% of the time. Must have been surprised to see a sign other than the sinker, I guess.
Well, now is 2-1.
It was more of a cut fastball. Let's look at the arsenal for Kendall Graveman. Fastball and a cutter about 75% of the time. He'll mix in a curveball and a changeup. Talking to the A's people, one of the changes that he made, it's kind of a subtle change. Instead of bringing his hands up near his head, he's starting with his hands around waist high. They said that his sinker has flattened out. It hasn't gone down at all. They also want him to mix in more of his other pitches, changeup, which he just threw, and also his curveball, so the hitters can't constantly look at his sinker. Now, that last sinker at 94 miles an hour had exactly the kind of action he wants, tailing in and down to a right-hand hitter.
Well, he's run the count full now on to Shields. And Delano will make him work a little harder. So both leadoff hitters tonight, forcing the starting pitcher into maybe more pitches, maybe nothing. Definitely more pitches than they wanted to throw to the first hitter. Joyce saw 11 pitches in the top of the first inning before ultimately flying out to right. This will be number 8 to Delano. Ooh, and he takes strike 3.
That's a pretty good pitch, 3-2. He hadn't seen that. He might have seen it, but not breaking like that. His pitch arsenal says that he throws a curveball that looked a lot like a slider, but I think that is his curveball. You can see it, the way he breaks it off and the way it breaks down. I think that's just a tight, sharp breaking curveball, not the big roundhouse curveball that you'll see some guys throw a little bit slower, maybe in the mid-70s. Why that might look a little more like a slider, that is his curveball, and very effective right there for called strike 3.
So now Choo, average of 250, good power, the 5 home runs. And Graveman runs it low.
He made the slight change mechanically by keeping his hands closer to his waist in his last start. The numbers don't look that great. He gave up 7 hits and 6 runs in 5 innings. But I think the A's felt like it was progress. Stuff was much better. Didn't walk anybody. Struck out 6 in 5 innings. I think he left that start feeling pretty good about it. Much better than his first 3 starts.
Gets a strike in there to Choo to make it 3-1.
Overall, left-hand hitters have really lit him up this year. 415 opponent's batting average against left-hand hitters.
Well, he walks Choo. Well, the Rangers have a base runner here in the first inning.
And third, the shortstop, number 19,
Now let's take a look at the Starting defense for the Oakland A's, Matt Joyce is in left field. Mark Canha, an unusual center fielder because he also plays first base. Don't see many combinations like that. Stephen Piscotty in right. The two Matts, the two young players of the future for the A's, Matt Chapman, Matt Olson at third and first. It's Marcus Semien and Jed Lowry up the middle, and Bruce Maxwell gets the first start of this series for the A's behind the plate. Jonathan Lucroy has caught the first couple of ball games.
So tonight you see Jurickson Profar batting third in the Rangers order. Profar with the average at 236, but he gets on base at a much higher clip. So appeal that check swing. He didn't go. Profar has walked more than he has struck out this year, 11 walks. The on base average is 364, so he's done a really good job in that respect. Chu with a modest lead. And they'll throw over there, and Chu will now hop up and head to second. Olson couldn't hold the pickoff throw, and Graveman will be charged with the error.
Yeah, it's obviously not a great throw. It would have been a relatively easy throw for Olson to handle if Shin-Soo Choo hadn't dived back and blocked his path to the ball. But it will go as an error on the pitcher.
Ball and 2 strikes now on Profar.
Graveman had a game against the Rangers last year, Dave. I think you alluded to it already, where he pitched very well, and virtually every pitch was a sinker. He was throwing very well that day. Every pitch was consistent, down around the knees, great movement on it. Didn't have to throw anything else. The A's have, because of his slow start, encouraged him to throw more off-speed pitches. And early in the ballgame, only 16 pitches. That was a good sinker, 95 right on the inside corner. He's thrown probably 3 or 4 changeups and 3 or 4 curveballs. So he is definitely trying to mix in other pitches. And that's one of those balls that sinks and comes back and catches the inside corner of the plate. We've seen that pitch a lot, especially with Bartolo Colon, so we talked about it a lot. It's such a hard pitch. In that case, the left-hand hitter feels like the ball is inside, and then the late movement brings it right near the inside corner. It's tough to feel confident that you're going to swing at that ball. Many times it's taken just like that for strike 3.
So 2 strikeouts in the inning, and now Mazzara takes strike 1.
Another changeup. Well, he's definitely mixing up his pitches much more than we've seen him do in the past.
Mazzara checks his swing, but takes a strike. So 0-2 to Shields and Profar, struck out looking. Chu with the walk and moved up on the error. Rangers, as has been the case for pretty much this entire season, have struggled with runners in scoring position in this series to the tune of 2 hits and 10 at bats. Mazzara with a chance here with a runner in scoring position. There he is. Chu still moves pretty well. Mazzara hitless in his last 9 at bats since the home run on Sunday against the Mariners. Graveman already at 20 pitches, though. The 1-2 and a swing and a miss. He strikes out the side in the first. So 1 scoreless inning in the book so far tonight. is I don't know where Olson was going right there. Backed away from the plate, but never did get a time call from Jordan Baker, the plate umpire. I believe that pitch counted. I also believe it was a ball.
Yeah, that's one for, as a pitcher, you go, darn it, had a free pitch right there. That was a great chance to throw strike one.
Anyway, Pfister, you saw the numbers there against Oakland. He's had great success against them. The only team against whom he has thrown better, really, are the Toronto Blue Jays. That will be the Rangers' next opponent, as they will hit the road later tomorrow. Low strike, 2-2 on Olson.
Olson kind of shaking his head on that one. He's thinking, if that's a strike, I'm going to have a hard time making the bat hit that ball solidly. But to his credit, never complained.
All of a sudden, he's on an unusual run. Olson is not struck out in what, 2 or 3 consecutive games now. 3. So he fouls this one away.
Well, the A's have a chance to have a couple of really nice players for the future. Chapman at third, Olson at first. Olson had a couple of years in the minor leagues where he walked more than 100 times. So eventually you'll probably see that patience worked into his overall game. Pretty good patience right there to take that changeup.
So Pfister surrenders his second base runner of the night. And brings up Matt Chapman. Well, you made the observation earlier when you were showing the defense. These 2 corner infielders, Olson, who just walked, this guy Chapman, their third baseman, really forming a core of young position players that, you know, bring a little optimism to Oakland these days.
For sure.
See 3 triples leading the league, 5 home runs. And what we have not been able to see yet from Chapman in this series has been an example of his great defensive prowess at third base. We saw it when we were in Oakland, but he hasn't been tested yet in this series. He's really, really good over there. 2-1.
Well, both of them have a chance to develop into power hitters. Olson last year hit 24 home runs in less than 200 at bats for the A's. Chapman hit 14 home runs or so in about what would amount to a half a season. Well, they have a lot to be optimistic about with these 2 kids.
Chapman's just 25 years old, a first-round pick in 2014. And there's a high strike, 2-2. Now Chapman, a guy who, you know, when you look at the numbers through his development in the minor leagues and his little bit of time in the big leagues, you would say, okay, he's probably going to strike out a little bit, and that's just going to be part of the game. Full count now on Chapman. And we'll have to wait and see what kind of on-base guy he is. Right now, this year, he's doing a real nice job in that regard. 385 on-base percentage, but again, the indications would be that he might give you a little more pop, good defense, but not so much of a high on base guy. Pop up, foul ground, and the Condor is over to tuck it away. So 1 out here in the second inning, and it brings up Mark Canha, our TXU Energy power player to watch. He's got an 8-game hitting streak going, in a span over which he's hitting almost 380. 11 hits and 29 at bats. The longest hitting streak of his young career. And he takes a high strike.
Canha hit a home run yesterday that was almost an out. Omar Mazara went back to the wall, had the ball in his glove right at the top of the wall. It just trickled out of his glove.
One ball, 1 strike on Canha. 341 average coming in. There's Nomar. Strike two. And you mentioned it earlier too. This guy, a very versatile player. Started 11 games at 3 different positions so far this year. He's had a good series, 3 for 8. Stays 1-2.
There's the home run that we're talking about. Hit it well against Cole Hamels, but it almost wasn't out. Ball hits in the kind of the base of the glove, rolls through the pocket. His glove snaps backward when it hit the wall, and the ball just shot right off the top of his glove.
Foul tip, kind of stays alive. Juan Centeno doing the catching tonight for the Rangers. Good to see him back there filling in for Robinson Chirinos tonight. And look at that. Rangers had some success with Centeno starting behind the dish. A 5-1 record. Bouncer, third base is just foul.
No, when you look down at the Rangers defense today, Jeff Bannister was talking about this before the ball game, and you see several of the young players out there. Drew Robinson at second, Kiner Falefa at third, Joey Gallo in left field. And it's really unusual to have kids breaking into the big leagues who have the ability to play a number of different positions well. Generally, with a young player, he gets to the big leagues and you know his position and that's where he plays. But we've seen Drew Robinson playing on the left side of the infield. We've seen him play a number of games in center field. Made that diving catch the other day out there, and now he's getting a chance to play second base on a fairly regular basis. Isaiah Kiner Falefa was playing second with the injury to Adrian. Now he moves over to third. And of course, Joey Gallo has played left field, first base, and third base. So 3 nice young players who have the unique ability, I think, to play a number of different positions.
McKenna launches this one high in the air down that left field line, deep out into the corner, and Gallo able to get to it for the second out of the inning. Boy, he throws it all the way back to first. Olsen got back ahead of it, but shows off his arm as well.
That ball was right down the line. It looked off the bat like it might be fouling into the stands. Joey stayed with it, came back right near the base of the wall, right near the foul line. We're using his 6'5" frame to make that play, and from the foul line, right near the wall. I thought he was throwing it to second. He was throwing it to first. Got it all the way there on a hop. It's a long-range throw.
Yeah, I mean, you would sort of assume that a guy was throwing it to second base. He does have a big arm, though. That was impressive. So here's Piscotty, the 8th place hitter. Now with 2 outs in the inning, and Pfister puts one in there for a strike. It's 1-1. 271 average for Piscotty. Home run, 6 doubles for him, though. One and two. So Pfister, his first game back off the disabled list. Now he's had to throw some pitches here early on. This will be his 43rd already. Still working here in the second inning. One missed, 2-2. That was also the 25th pitch of this inning. So a lot of early offerings. He's had 3 at-bats that have gone at least 7 pitches in length. And this one we'll see a 6th. In fact, this is his 4th full count. So deep counts early for Pfister is 3-2 fouled away. We're talking in the open about how it would be awfully nice if Pfister was able to chew up some innings tonight and save this bullpen because it has seen a lot of work early. We said the same thing last night about Cole Hamels. Hamels did a nice job going 6 1/3, but that's ball 4. And so the inning will continue as Piscotty draws the walk. And the A's with 2 base runners on now get their 9th place hitter to the plate.
Now we're talking before the game that Doug was not under any restrictions coming off the disabled list. They're very confident that the hip was healed. In his first 3 starts, he'd averaged somewhere around 80 pitches per start. And he was on no pitch count coming into the game. But already in the game, this will be his 47th pitch in the 2nd inning. Pitch count has risen up pretty high early in the game.
Well, Maxwell playing in his 80th, or rather 8th game of the year. Currently hitless in his last 7 at bats, and he takes inside. Last year, spent 3 different stints with the big club, up and down a few times. So he checks his swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. But Carapazza rings up strike 2. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We were just talking about that earlier today. What constitutes a swing?
Two and 2. Last year, Maxwell hit .237 with 3 homers in his 76 games played with the big club. Strike 3 called right on the inside corner. First strikeout of the night for Pfister, and he strands 2 more base runners.
Doug had to throw a lot of pitches that inning. He walked a couple, but the bottom line is strikeout to the end of the inning, and it's still 2 shutout frames for Doug. Box in left field. Albert Pujols remains a huge presence in the middle of the Angel lineup. Active hits leaders, Ichiro still leads the way. Adrian will be stalled for a couple of weeks right behind him, and Albert Pujols is right there as well.
Well, bunt third base side. Graveman with the sliding play, but couldn't get it done.
Now you're talking. That was a matter of time before that happened. And, you know, if you're going to bunt, there's a time for it. And to me, leading off an inning is the right time for a bunt. 2 outs and nobody on, fine. Try to go for the extra base hit. But the team needs base runners, trying to scratch some runs across. Why not? And the more he does that, the less the extreme shift will be utilized, especially in those situations where a base runner can be a real important deal. Down by a couple of runs late in the game, nobody on, why not? And anything you can do to eliminate the severity of the shift will be much to his advantage. And at the beginning of the year, maybe he wasn't comfortable doing that, but almost a month into the season, he's practiced it. He's considered it several times during the game. And that time he looked very comfortable laying that bunt down.
Yeah, he really did. And, you know, we saw him attempt one the other day, but he fouled it off. We've seen him square a handful of times, but boy, that was a really good looking bunt.
Mm-hmm. And Graveman looked like a pretty good athlete the way he went after that ball. Next time he does it, he bunts it a little harder and be able to walk to first base. And if you really get comfortable doing it, instead of just bunting at it, you kind of slap at it, push it into the outfield, and maybe be able to get to second base.
Two-strike pitch to Kiner Falefa, and that one in the dirt.
Well, the other thing that you consider in the course of a season over 162 games, if you can do that 8 or 10 times, what it means to your personal batting average can mean 10 or 12, 13 points over 500 at bats to your batting average. So it works for the team, it works for the individual player as well.
Well, Graveman really bogs down once you get a runner on base. We saw this in the first inning. Came quite deliberate in getting his signs. Gallo not going. Pitch off the plate, 2-2 on Kiner Falefa. It's been a real struggle for the A's right-hander this year. And he struck out the side in the first inning. But no matter how you parse the numbers, this first month of the season has been an ugly one for Graveman. So Gallo on via the bunt.
No A's pitcher has ever lost 5 games in April. He's 0-4. One of the reasons no A's pitcher has ever lost 5 games in April is because a lot of seasons in the past, the season started on April 4th, April 8th. There weren't as many games played in April. This year, the season started in March, so there's a full month of April. At the same time, it doesn't really minimize being 0-5 in the month of April.
No, part of the problem is he's allowed at least 1 homer in his last 7 starts. Gallo running, and that is ball 4 to Kiner Falefa.
Hey, look at some of the numbers. ERA, more home runs than you would expect for an extreme sinker ball pitcher. Opponent's batting average is the 5th highest at 357. OPS over 1,000. So that's not really indicative of the talent that Kendall Graveman has. We've seen him when he looks like one of the tougher pitchers in the league. He's off to an unfortunate start, but there's a lot more talent in the tank than what opposing hitters have seen against him so far this year.
Now working with some base runners here in the second. Gallo at second base, Kiner Falefa at first for Ronald Guzman. Condor takes down in the dirt. Ball 1. You see the numbers for Guzman. 182 average. This just his 10th game overall. And his playing time, I don't want to say sporadic, but he hadn't been starting every single day. Jeff Bannister trying to pick and choose the right spots for him. That one off the plate.
Yeah, I think Ronald's in the situation right now where he's going to get fairly consistent playing time. And the better he hits, the more consistent that playing time will be. I think he's in a position right now where he could easily play himself into a guy that's going to play every day. As he gets more comfortable, gets a little more consistent, the hits start coming. playing time won't be a problem at all. There's a 2-0 changeup from Graveman. Mentioned in the first inning, the A's have encouraged him to throw more different pitches other than his sinker, and we've seen him throw a number of curveballs and a number of changeups, especially very effectively in the first inning when he used those pitches to strike out 3 batters.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Guzman. Well, with Beltre now to the disabled list, it pretty much assures that Gallo is going to be in left field on a daily basis, and Guzman likely going to start every day at first, and that one inside almost got him. Just got out of the way. It's a full count. Well, Doug Fister threw 33 pitches in the top half of this inning. Has toiled for his first 2 frames. Graveman not exactly jumping on the opportunity. He too has logged some pitches here early. This will be his 35th of the night. He's only recorded 3 outs. We might see a little of the bullpens tonight. 3-2. Comebacker Graveman goes to second for 1, and the relay to first, a double play. Well, that will certainly affect the guy's pitch count on the night. A big double play for Graveman.
We've seen Simeon a couple of times in this series take a less than perfect throw on a double play and have no problem turning it. Very little wasted motion in his throw to first base. He gets it out of his glove and doesn't have to bring his arm back at all. He just brings the ball straight back and throws it to first base so quickly. The other day he fielded one right near the ground and did the same thing. Had no problem turning it.
So now 2 away, and Gallo at third base for Juan Centeno. Centeno will start behind the plate today, and of course in a backup role you take the opportunities when they come along. He takes a strike, 2-1 the count. His last start was on this homestand. It was Sunday against Seattle, and even though it's several days between starts, generally speaking, for Centeno, he's hit safely in 4 of his last 5 starts. Hits this one out to center field, but it hangs up just a little bit, and the inning is done. So the Rangers leave a man at third. 2 scoreless innings in the books. And we're getting closer and closer to opening business out there. And in fact, really happy to bring in Jill Burgess. And Jill, welcome to the booth.
Thank you. This is really cool up here.
It is very cool up here.
It is very cool.
It's going to be very cool over at Texas Live when Lockhart Smokehouse opens up here, and we're close, right?
I think right now the end of the summer is what we're hearing. So I've got time to get my pits warmed up and to make you all smell barbecue for a few months coming into it.
Well, you're going to find out that Tom is always smelling barbecue. In fact, he tipped me off. He senses that there's maybe some actually in the booth.
We might.
Yeah,
we might.
Unless you've been cooking it and you have that scent on you right now, I smell something in the booth.
You would be shocked at how my laundry room smells. So yes, it's always with me.
Wow, what a nifty play by Robinson there to take care of Joyce to start things here in the third inning. Jill, so Lockhart Smokehouse.
Yes, sir.
Now, a lot of people know it in Dallas.
Yes.
A lot of people know it in Plano.
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you.
Now, why Texas Live? How did that?
Well, Arlington is becoming the center of the sports world here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So between the Rangers and the Cowboys and all kinds of other cool things going on out here, why wouldn't we want to be here?
Well, listen, I'm on board. I'm on board. Yeah, I mean, when you look at that opportunity, and from what I understand, the piece of property that you got is right by the front door of where the new ballpark is going to be.
It's by the front door and also by the lovely open green space where there's going to be bands and all kinds of fun happening. So we've got the best of both worlds right there.
Yeah, you really scored on that one. Look at that. So you see some of the renderings as we get excited about this opening maybe later this summer, as early as I'm here. You know, look, people get optimistic, but I'm hearing some people talking about August. Can you be ready in August?
I can. Okay. I just need a building to put it into.
Simeon takes a strike, 2-1. Okay, so it's going to be a great location. How much would you love to have that thing open right now with, I understand there's another big event in town this week.
That small thing happening? Yeah, the NFL draft. Yeah, that would have been really cool, but that's okay because they can still come visit us in Dallas. It's not too far away.
Have you heard about any, some of the other tenants that are planning to be in Texas Live who might,
yeah, some little small names like Troy Aikman, maybe. Yeah, and Guy Fieri, and the PCB bar and Bulls and all that fun stuff.
So what can we expect on the menu?
Well, we're going to have some of our, what we do best, brisket and sausage and ribs and all the great things we do in our current locations, but also a few grab-and-go type items, because when you come out to the ballpark, you come with a mission.
Like
Ballpark, yeah. It permeates through everything. You come out with a mission, so you want to grab it and go and sit down and enjoy the game.
I like it. So I heard brisket in there. That's good.
Yes.
Heard sausage in there. Look at Tom. Is that going to be enough, Tom?
Now, what is that, like a rib?
That is a beef rib. That's one of the specials we do on Wednesdays.
Is that for a family of four?
It could be a family of four, or for your hungry crew right here in the press box. And you happen to have prime rib.
Yeah. Yeah,
so we smoke prime rib. How beautiful is that?
It's quite beautiful. It's like right off the set of the Flintstones.
Yes, exactly. This is, it's truly a Flintstone meal.
Well, I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to dive into that myself or save it for the guys down in the truck, because
we did get a little crazy and we brought you even utensils. So if you just need to cut off a niblet.
Okay, I'll do that.
There you go.
I'm definitely going to sample that rib. Wow.
And some blue cheese coleslaw. So it's, coleslaw, but even better, because blue cheese makes everything better. And these are the original Kreitz Market sausages. So they are made in Lockhart, Texas by my cousin.
I wanted to ask you about these. So because, I mean, listen, you can't get these just anywhere.
No, absolutely not.
Delino with a great job out in center field, 2 away.
Love the way Delino went after that ball. You have your choice whether you're going to turn your back, lose the ball for a second, hope you turn around at the right spot, or keep your eye on the ball and have to adjust your body to the location of the ball. You can see him kind of veering to the right to be able to get under that ball and make the play. Well, very nice play by Delino out in center field, who looks more and more comfortable out there.
Joe, let me ask you a question now.
Okay.
So you open up and we got the sign out front, Lockhart Steakhouse and Texas
Smokehouse.
Smokehouse. What did I say?
It's all right. You have prime rib. It joggles the brain a little.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. By the ballpark. But
Yeah, exactly.
So we're open up. Everybody's excited. Texas Live is booming.
Yes.
It's a game day. Now, will you be open like at lunch?
We're planning to be open lunch and dinner every day.
Okay.
Because there's always going to be exciting stuff going on. That's part of the beauty of Texas Live. Like, even when there's not games or whatever, there's going to be something fun happening.
You know, because we get to work early.
Okay.
The crew, we get to be like,
right, and you're going to smell
everybody.
it.
Yeah.
So you're going to run over.
So I want to
you're going to need some.
Yes, that's the idea. And if
Yeah.
it's right there, Tom, right out the front door.
I would think it's going to be very popular for the college football games when you got all the fans from all the different schools that are going to be playing here.
Oh, yes. No, Jerry World always brings lots of people in. So
It's going to be great.
We're very excited.
Live by Lowe's. I mean, there's so much going on out there. Is this ball hammered out to right field and into the seats? Davis has gone the other way. A 2-run homer off Doug Fister. Oakland starts the scoring tonight.
Well, it's been 5 or 6 games since Davis, who has destroyed Texas pitching, has hit a home run. But he gets one right there. It shows the kind of power that he has. He reached out, lined that ball over the Ranger bullpen a couple of rows back. He's got power to all fields. Sinker kind of stayed out over the plate for Davis, who hit that right off the barrel of the bat over the bullpen.
12th extra base hit of the series for Oakland, and that's the 18th home run by Chris Davis against the Rangers since the start of the 2016 season. Kind of crazy the damage that guy has done against Rangers pitching. And we kind of got lured into a little bit of false sense of security because of the drought he had been on lately. But he rears his head again as Matt Olson takes a couple off the plate. Sharply to shortstop. Profar right there on top of it. The inning is done. Oakland takes the early lead. Joe Burgess, thank you so much. We cannot wait for the smokehouse to open. And in the meantime, we'll come out to Dallas and Plano and join you out there.
Lovely. And let me know how you enjoy this right here.
Thank you.
I can tell you ahead of time, it's great.
Thank you.
All right, bottom of the third coming. Run. Drew Robinson leading things off against Kendall Graveman. Well, there we go. We were just talking about Texas Live the other day, getting excited about its pending arrival later this summer. And we had heard earlier this week that there's the big job fair tomorrow. A big job fair tomorrow for Texas Live, and like over 1,000 jobs to be had as this one fouled away by Robinson. But we were kind of asking the question rhetorically. I don't know if it was on the air or off the air, to be honest with you, about who some of the vendors and tenants are going to be there. And, well, we've met one. And if that's any indication, Lockhart Smokehouse, boy, that's pretty tasty. Tom, I noticed you didn't take long getting into that.
I was a little bit late getting back for the start of this inning because I had to sample that giant rib and the sausage, and it definitely rates quite highly.
Is that one rib?
I think it's like one giant beef rib.
Goodness. Well, that was fun. Now Robinson strikes out swinging, and here we go in the bottom of the 3rd inning. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in with Dana Larson. Boy, thanks, Dana. And what a difference maker he has been for the Houston Astros. Verlander, good again today.
They were a really good team before he got there, but they went over the hump and became a great team when he got there. Just the presence that he has, I think, elevated everybody on the team when he got there. And with no malice intended to any other starter in that staff, he became the leader of that staff, and I think just made an incredible difference once he got there. Bulldog on the mound, work ethic, preparation, all the things that go into it.
And then he, with his performance now, he gives credence to that old saw about, maybe a change of scenery can be good for a player. Not that he was struggling per se, but he'd had a couple of, down years.
I guess for him you would say that, yeah. I think it's similar to what happened when Nolan Ryan left the Astros and came to the Rangers. He was excellent with the Astros, but just whatever it was, the added adrenaline rush, the feeling that you have new teammates that you feel like you need to prove something to, not that either one of them needed to do that, but it definitely elevated Nolan's game. The year he got here, he went 16-8, struck out 300 batters. And I think Justin Verlander is kind of doing the same thing.
Delano takes the walk. Now a threat to run.
That's a 3rd walk for Graveman.
Living dangerously so far. And on the one end, if you maybe just tuned in and you caught Davis hitting the home run, Oakland jumping ahead 2-0. A little disappointed in the way this one has started. But this definitely has a unique feel to it tonight. You just have a sense that the Rangers are going to be able to get something going against Graveman here. He has cracked open the door a little bit here early, but given the way things have gone in his first 4, you figure something's going to happen. Here's Chu, and bounces this one on the ground to second base. Lowry can't handle it. Pops straight up in the air on him, and everybody is safe.
You could see that coming almost. It was going to take a nice pickup for Lowry to get that ball. The way the hops were coming, he had a choice to wait back and have no chance for double play, or charge it and try to short hop it to get a double play. And as it turned out, this last hop was a little more than he could handle. Kicked off the heel of his glove. So now a walk and an error, and the Rangers have a little something going. Safe play would have been to wait back and get one force out at second, or maybe get the one at first, get a sure out. Lowry decided to go for 2, wasn't able to make the pickup.
So a couple of base runners for Profar now. Two, and into Shields off in the distance. Good speed out there. Profar struck out looking in the first inning. Oh, 2. Rangers still looking for their first hit of the night with a runner in scoring position. It's their 5th opportunity. Bouncer right side, another opportunity for Lowry. He'll go to second, and that's the only one they'll get. Force out of Chu. DeShields at third. Profar at first. Well, the important thing is the inning continues.
When we talked about Graveman and his struggles before the game, one of the things that we were told was his sinker had flattened out, really wasn't sinking very much. That hasn't been the case in the game today. He's had occasional problems throwing it for a strike, but he has not had any problems making it sink. And there's a good example of it. The last two hitters have hit that sinker into the ground towards second base. A lot of base runners, a lot of pitches, but what appears to be much better stuff so far in this game than Graveman has had for most of the season.
Struck out Mazzara in the first inning. One of 4 strikeout victims he's had tonight. One and one. Mazzara has an RBI in 3 of his last 5 games. In fact, 5 of his last 8 games. He went on that really cold stretch early on, where he had just 1 or 2 RBIs in those 16 games. Since then, has more consistently chipped in again. Today, batting cleanup and acting as the DH. 1-1, and that is outside. These two teams split 4 games in Oakland. And then in the opener here on Monday night, it was a 3-3 tie into the 9th inning before Oakland mounted a late rally to win. Yesterday, Oakland again in the late innings edged a 3-2 victory. Mazzara takes a strike. It's 2-2. So they've been close games late.
He's thrown that pitch a lot and with some pretty good success. Tailing, sinking fastball right in the inside corner to the left-hand hitters.
Graveman got himself into a little bit of trouble. The 2-2 in the dirt. Good stop back there by Maxwell. It's full count. Yet another 3-ball count, 5th of the night for Kendall Graveman. Well, you got a good RBI man at the plate. You have DeShields at third, Profar at first. Runner goes, there's a swing, and that ball hit up the middle. But Lowry able to back up on it and throw out Mazzara to end the Rangers' threat. We've played 3 complete. A's on top, 2-0.
Welcome you back to Globe Life Park in Arlington. Ed is Progressive Fan of the Game Time. It is Elaine Page, who is celebrating being how young?
Do I have to tell?
87 years young. And you get to come to the Ranger game, but the biggest surprise of all today was?
My family came in from all over the United States.
All of her family is here to celebrate, and the Progressive Fan of the Game is just icing on top. Congratulations,
Yes,
Elaine.
thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Well, that is awesome. Chapman grounds out to third, 1 out to begin this 4th inning. So 2-0 Oakland. And here is Mark Canha, 7th place hitter.
I haven't seen that protective device that Mark has on his left elbow. Looks like it's much more form-fitting and comfortable than some of the ones I've seen. Like it kind of
built into the shirt or something.
Yeah, it fits on like a sleeve.
Yeah, look at that. 1 ball, 1 strike on Canha. Now you would not have had any armor of any kind when you played.
Nope.
Did anybody wear anything on the shin or ankle, anything like that?
The trainers back then would try to make something, especially for your ankles, the guys that foul balls straight down into their ankles. But it was just something makeshift that they put together, you know, with foam, padding, tape, nothing form-fitting that's manufactured now for the guys. So there was nothing like that. In fact, back in the early 70s, players didn't even use batting gloves. So on freezing cold nights, there was no batting gloves. There was some form of pine tar, but not the kind of pine tar that's available now.
Canha strikes out, 2nd punch out tonight for Doug Fister.
And sometimes, you know, some of the armor that the players wear looks like it would be a little bit uncomfortable. We've heard players talk about the bar that goes across and protects your chin and your face. Some players, I saw Robinson Cano say that he just didn't feel comfortable wearing it. And I would feel that way with some of the pads I've seen for the elbow. Now, the one that Canha had on looked like you wouldn't even know it was there, the way it fit. And whether I'd had problems being hit in the elbow by a ball or not, I would tend to want to wear that just to feel a little bit safer when you go to the plate. Definitely wear the bar going across my face, no matter how long it took to get used to that.
Oh, you think you would? You just jump right in with that?
Yep.
Piscotty serves one out into center field. That's a base hit. So he's been on twice tonight.
You know, whether it would be the first time that you ever tried it, maybe not, but I'd wear it in batting practice and definitely use it in spring training to get used to it and make every attempt to feel comfortable wearing it.
Well, 2 gone, but a base runner for Oakland. They have had a man on in every inning so far. Here's Bruce Maxwell, 9th place hitter. Fister closing in on 80 pitches tonight. Trying to get through this 4th inning. It is the first time tonight that he has worked with Juan Centeno. Robinson Chirinos had caught all of his other starts. Oh, 0-2 the count. Piscotty getting some attention over there first. He has not attempted a stolen base yet this year. Well, we've mentioned it before. Oakland hasn't felt the need to do a lot of running. They haven't needed to score runs. As that one bounces up there, and they'll appeal the check swing. He didn't go. So 1-2 the count. Top of the fourth inning. Mentioned last time Maxwell was up that he went up and down a number of times last year. His first 2 times up with the big club, pretty unproductive at the plate. His last time up seemed to make some adjustments, and he was getting more regular time at the end of the year, but he hit .240 with 12 doubles and 3 homers in those last 67 games. This year working the backup role to Jonathan Lucroy. 2-2 pitch, and it's down in the dirt. Well, Pfister happened to be back out there competing. His last start was on the 9th of the month. 3-2 pitch ground ball. That one over to the right side. Easy play for Robinson, and the inning is done. Nothing doing for the A's in the top of the fourth. In the bottom of the fourth inning, Joey Gallo will start things off for the Rangers. Had a bunt single in the second, and Emily Jones has a little report on him when we come back.
Something off that we wondered when he would actually do it, and tonight he finally did. With the shift on, he lays down the bunt, third base, side hustles down the line, successfully safe at first base. And I talked to Joey about this very thing today, and he actually said, you know what, I'm ready to do it. I think it just is going to be the right situation. It's got to be the right time in the game, and then to get a single on top of it.
Yeah, so he can bunt it to the left, and then he can yank it through the infield on the right. It's pretty, I mean, that's the way you do it.
I think the situation was the right situation leading off an inning. That was a changeup, high changeup, tailing away from Joey. A little bit off the end of the bat. Just shot it by the second baseman into right field. And Joey's led off the second inning and now the fourth inning by getting on base with a single.
So Gallo has both Rangers hits so far tonight. Kiner Falefa out to left field, but that one hangs up long enough for Joyce to get to it. One away.
I think once you've done it once, like Joey has bunted once for a base hit, it feels pretty good to get a base hit that way. They're giving it to you. And so under the right circumstances in the future, should be even more confident to keep right on doing it.
Now here's Ronald Guzman. And he bounced into a big double play in the second inning, 0 for 1. One of a number of young players for the Rangers getting extended time now. With the vast array of injuries that have maligned this infield in particular, the Rangers have turned to a lot of really young guys to get, in some of their cases, their first big league experience and get a lot of it as starters. Take a look at tonight's batting order for the Rangers and the respective age of everybody in the order. You know, without Chu, you're talking about everybody in their mid to low 20s, basically. Juan Centeno, I guess, 28. A couple of them right there, Profar into Shields. Unfortunately, Elvis Andrus on the left on the disabled list, along with Adrian Beltre and Rougned Odor. This one blooped over short, could be a tough play, drops in for a base hit. Gallo trying for 3, he'll get in there without a throw. So Guzman drops a little hand grenade out there to center field.
It's a pitch tailing away, hit him right off the end of the bat. Looked like a changeup. Graveman has thrown a number of changeups in this game. He's had pretty good success with it. Ronald was just able to get enough of the bat on it to loop it over shortstop. First and third, only 1 out. Rangers down by 2. See if Juan Centeno can bring at least 1 in right here.
So Centeno flied out in the second inning, 0 for 1. We had Gallo at third base when he was up in that second inning. With the infield back, if you could just stay out of a double play, you should be able to get a run in here if you can make contact.
Oh, the temperature of 53 degrees. The A's have to feel right at home. This is pretty much how it feels in Oakland every day that we're out there. Every night game we're out there. Somewhere between 55 and 60.
One and 1 the count. We were talking about this the other night, but this series here in Arlington, it's the first for Oakland outside of the Pacific time zone. They played their home games obviously out in Oakland, and then all their road games early in the season had been out on the coast. So now, of course, they venture away from that kind of weather, and they still get that kind of weather. Ooh, little roller left side. They'll go to second, 1 on to first. Not in time. Centeno beat it out, and the Rangers get on the board.
It just wasn't hit quite hard enough. Softly hit ball. A's tried to turn it. A's thinking about challenging it. Let's see. I think that's going to hold up. They turned it about as quickly as they could based on how hard the ball was hit. Well, I said it was going to hold up. The A's don't think it's going to hold up.
Well, it's awfully close. You look at it live, and something says that he beat it. Let's see here. We should get a look. No.
Man, wow.
So
I'm saying he beat it. I'm saying they can't overturn it.
I'll say this, that it's so close. Whatever you think you see right there is so close that it would be hard to say, oh no, that's definitely out.
I think so too.
All right, so our Ford replay review in the hands of the officials in New York.
Big call in the ball game too.
It is indeed.
You're either out of the inning with nothing, or you're still on the field with 1 run in.
And again, I just think it's going to come down to, you just can't say definitively that the call in the field was wrong. That's really close.
I think because of the importance of the play, Bob Melvin said, I'm going to go for it. Maybe we'll get a call here.
I might be misreading his body language, but at first I thought, watching him there on our split screen that he was saying, yeah, well, they're not going to overturn that. Yeah, I think he's almost conceded mentally they're not going to get it. Although I did see him reading his lips earlier say, nah, he's out. Let's see. Safe. Yeah. Just not enough to overturn it. So close. I don't see how you could. So Centeno beats it out. That's great hustle. Very valuable hustle tonight. And it's a 2-1 game. The inning continues for Drew Robinson.
Now batting for the Rangers, the second baseman, Drew Robinson.
Well, Robinson in need of a tonic of sorts here. Struck out in the 3rd inning. And it's been a struggle for him. A lot of strikeouts, 33 of them now on the year. And we know Drew is a guy who can hit the ball a long way. If he could run into one here, that might be a big lift for him, and certainly for the Rangers.
Another changeup for Graveman. That's been a pretty good pitch for him tonight. The action on his changeup is pretty much what he wants his sinker to do. Tailed down and away from a left-hand hitter.
1-1 the count. Well, this will be his 70th pitch of the night. A lot of high-stress pitches for him, too. Robinson, a check swing roller right to Jed Lowry, and so that will end the inning. Rangers, though, do get a run back. 2 hits. They leave a man. We've played 4. A's lead it 2-1. May 3rd through 6th, the 4-game series. Come see the Rangers take on the Red Sox out here at Globe Life Park. Great seats still available at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. All right, top of the 5th inning, top of the order coming for Oakland. Matt Joyce, Marcus Semien, and Jed Lowry. The A's 13-11. Off to a pretty good start this year. This one popped foul out of play. And on the one hand, you say, oh, 13-11. Not bad at all. On the other, worth noting that they're on currently on a little bit of a tear. They've won 8 of their last 9 games, and they have scored runs all over the place. 1-1 the count.
You know, the other day how we were talking about the Yankees and the Red Sox, which team might prevail at the end of the year. We're talking about all their different players. Didi Gregorius is 3 for 3 tonight, another home run. He's hitting .372 with 9 home runs and 29 RBIs in the month of April. And his name goes unnoticed when you talk about Sanchez, Stanton, and Judge. He's been better than all of them.
Pfister's 2-2. Another foul ball by Joyce. Mentioning this run that the A's have been on, 6 runs a game and a team ERA of just over 3. Doing a lot of things really well right now. Another foul out of play by Joyce. Joyce went, what, 11 pitches deep in his at bat in the first inning before flying out. This another deep at bat here. In fact, the 6th by Oakland that has gone at least 7 pitches in length against Pfister. I mean, Joyce himself, his pitch count is high. I mean, Joyce might have to go to the bullpen. Speaking of which, Jesse Chavez getting ready for the Rangers in case he's needed.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be needed. 92 pitches here to start the 5th inning.
Swing and a miss, and Joyce strikes out to start the 5th. 3rd strikeout tonight for Doug Pfister. All right, time now for a word from our friends at Southwest Kia.
$250 down, $250 a month or less on select new Kias in stock only at southwestkia.com.
First pitch to Marcus Semien upstairs for a ball. Simeon's 2 for 2 with a run scored. Takes a breaking ball for strike 2. Semien led off yesterday. Had a walk and a double. Led off in the opener. Had a couple of hits, including a go-ahead home run in the 9th inning. Today drops to the 2nd spot in the order against the right-hand throwing Doug Pfister. And that's the thing. The A's had seen a lefty starter in each of their previous 5 games. So with the righty, Semien moves down a slot and fouls this one off. It's 1-2. Well, Pfister closing in on 100 now. Rangers signed Pfister in November, late November last year. And he goes full now on Semien. And that was after last year, weird year 2017. He did not sign a deal until May 20th with the Angels. Semien rolls it to shortstop. Profar has time and throws him out. 2 away.
We'll take the pitch count by inning. A long 2nd inning. 33 pitches. All the other innings are pretty much what you want to see. I guess people say you'd love to see a 15-pitch inning or better, but he's been right around there every inning except the 2nd, where he had to throw 33 pitches. That's an inning where he walked a couple of batters, pitched out of a jam by striking out Bruce Maxwell.
Jed Lowry tees off with the first pitch he sees, drives it down the line, but foul.
Well, Lowry's had some bad luck in this series. He had one right-handed the other day. Just missed a 3-run homer right down the left field line. And this was a very similar shot, left-handed, right down the right field line.
Oh for 2 so far. A couple of fly ball outs. Lowry leading the American League with a .363 average coming in with 37 hits. Ooh, takes a very close pitch right there, 1-1.
Could have been. Borderline.
That one not nearly as close. 2-1 the count. So Pfister last year didn't sign till May. Made a couple of AAA starts for the Angels, and then was claimed off waivers by Boston on June 26th. And that's where things turned around for him. So this is a little bit high, 3-1. 5-7 with a 4.71 ERA and 15 starts with the Red Sox, and they made some adjustments to his stance and delivery that he felt like made a big difference for him as he walks Lowry and puts a man on with 2 out.
I think Jeff Bannister said, I can go a little over 100 pitches. I'm going to give Doug one more batter to see if he can get out of the 5th inning on his own. But the walk to Lowry was the final one, and after 103 or 4 pitches, that'll be it.
Tough for a starter. One start away from completing the 5 innings, but he's done.
Summary. The 2-run homer by Chris Davis. Got a pitch out over the plate, drove it over the Ranger bullpen into the right field seats. The A's lead 2-1, and that's the reason why. Chris Davis, who has hit a lot of home runs against the Rangers. In fact, since 2016, he's hit more than any other player. George Springer is next with 13. Chris Davis, that was his 18th home run in that span against the Rangers.
Oh, the man on. He'll go after the first pitch, roll it to shortstop, and a force out at second ends the inning. Oh, Jesse Chavez, he knows what he's doing. Inning done. We're halfway there tonight in a 1-run game. Students from SMU tonight. These students participated in Fox Sports University this spring, a program where students team up to create real-world solutions and campaigns supporting Fox businesses. If you'd like a little more information on that, check it out, foxsportsuniversity.com. Nice job. Good to have them out at the ballpark tonight. From the looks of things, they're having fun too. Delano DeShields rolls out for the first out of the inning.
Good start to the 5th inning for Kendall Graveman. 1 pitch, 1 out, chopper to first base. They've only had a few hits. Joey Gallo has a bunt and a ground ball single, and Ronald Guzman has a blooper to left field. While Graveman's command hasn't been perfect, his stuff has been pretty good. He does have the downward action to his sinker. He's thrown some really good changeups. Early in the game, he threw some curveballs, but recently it's been mostly sinker changeup. Here's another example of it. Not a strike, but a good solid 92-mile-an-hour sinker.
There's 1-1 to Chu. A little bit low. Chu is the 20th hitter that Graveman has faced here tonight. And the Rangers have swung at the first pitch in 9 of their first 20 plate appearances against Graveman. He's also snuck a couple in there with some pretty good movement. He got one in against Chu. 2-2. And that's inside, so a full count. There have been times where his tempo has been pretty upbeat too, as he comes right after Chu and strikes him out for the 2nd out of the 5th inning. Let's take a Chevy game break. Check it again with Dana Larson.
Wow, 29 RBIs in 23 or 4 games. I think he's played himself into all-star status. Started out with Cincinnati, went to Arizona. Didn't look like he was going to be a power hitter, although I distinctly remember it's going to be in there.
Profar dumps one in. Oh, hello. Profar going for 2, and he's in there easily. A good read by Jurickson. And you see that the opportunity was there for an extra base.
Yeah, I think Jurickson did it right. He didn't know whether he was going to be able to go to second, but as long as he ran hard and took a big turn, he had the choice. See the grip, the changeup, nice tailing action, hit it off the end of the bat. And when he saw the outfielders come together and not really field that ball cleanly, he just kept going and ended up sliding easily into second base for a double.
There you go, 25th double of his career. Good read too. You could see him hesitating there at first, and picked up that near collision. So now he's in scoring position, and a base hit by Mazzara could potentially tie this game. This one well fouled on the left side.
Talking about D.D. Gregorius, I remember the home run he hit against Yu Darvish in Arizona one day. Long home run to right field, where you said, well, he hasn't hit a lot of home runs, but boy, he showed some power on that one. And he got traded to the Yankees, and kind of on a yearly basis gets stronger and stronger as far as the home runs go. Who knows how many he'll hit this year. Okay, if you take Stanton, Judge, Sanchez, and Gregorius, which one will hit the least amount of home runs? Now, before the season, you would have said Gregorius, but would you say him now?
I tell you,
I still have to say him, but
you know what, though? I mean, I guess it's one of those things, right? If you're going to play the odds, one of the things you would have to consider is whom who would stand a greater chance of maybe missing time this year? So in that respect, you look at Gary Sanchez at the catcher position. There's always
won't play as many games.
Increased risk that something happens there. There's a base hit into right field. Profar being waved. The throw heading to the plate is high. Profar scores. Going to second is Mazzara, and he's in there. This game tied at 2. And Mazzara's hit to right field.
Oh, that's a good job with 2 outs. The A's, I won't say misplayed the ball in left field on Profar's hit, but they came together and couldn't make a play. Profar stretched a single into a double. Mazzara got a high sinker and ripped it into right field. Piscotty comes in, and the ball must have slipped out of his hand because he threw a high fly to home plate, and that allowed Mazzara to just keep on going. And now he's at second base after that RBI hit. Oh, good job of base running right there. Profar taking the extra base, turning a single into a double. And Mazzara kept right on going on the overthrow of the cutoff man.
Good heads-up baseball this inning, and Profar able to turn it into a run. So a new game. Mazzara now in scoring position for Joey Gallo. There's the shift. And of course, with a runner at second, limits what Chapman can do over at third base. Has to stay at least somewhat close to the bag. And a strike to Joey Gallo. A bunt hit, and then a single that he roped into right field, right by Jed Lowry. Two and 0. You know, the way in which we've broken down Graveman's success tonight, one of the things, I don't know, that's exactly jumped to the fore has been that he has kept the ball in the yard, and that has not been the story for him lately. His last 7 games has allowed at least 1 home run. In fact, he was second in the American League in home runs allowed this year. Gallo has knocked one out against him before, and he takes a strike. Nick, you mentioned this earlier, right? That 5 or fewer innings pitched and 4 earned runs in all of them for 5 straight starts. Outside 3 and 1. And not the type of thing that happens very often. In fact, in A's history, going back to Kansas City and Philadelphia, go back 110 years. And it's the longest streak of that happening.
As we mentioned, he's trying to avoid losing his 5th game in the month of April.
It's a corner call there. Full count now on Gallo.
Well located. Sinker, barely a strike.
'87 pitches into the night. Rangers have tied it up against him, and it's 3-2. Gallo takes low. That's ball 4. So 2 men are on.
Now batting the third baseman, Isaiah Kiner.
4th walk in the game for Graveman.
Oh, we talked about Graveman last year in April. He threw that beauty against the Rangers here, and it looked like he was off to a terrific start. Might be headed to an all-star type season within a week. He was on the disabled list with a strained right shoulder. Come back in late May, early June, and back on the disabled list again with a right shoulder strain. And then this year it's just been a flat-out struggle for him, and he'll get a visit now from Maxwell. So a pretty big spot, obviously. Burning a mound visit here to make sure that they're on the same page with regard to Kiner Falefa. 0 for 1 with a walk. Mazara second, Gallo at first, and a tie game. And that is outside.
Graveman getting up there. This will be his 90th pitch. No one warming up in the bullpen right now, but there will be pretty soon.
About ready to throw his 20th pitch of this inning. He's had to work hard tonight. You've said it more than once. His command has not been the sharpest we've seen from him. He's managed to stay out of big trouble for the most part. The 1-0. And misses again, ball 2.
Well, he's way too concerned with the base runners right now. Base runners aren't going anywhere, and he's got 2 outs. The only thing he needs to do is concentrate on the hitter, but worried about the base runner is going to get you behind. Which it has at 2 balls and no strikes.
This one over second, drops in, base hit. Here comes Mazara. Rangers take the lead. Gallo goes to third, and Kiner Falefa has put Texas in front 3-2.
Get the bat on the ball. 2-0 pitch, pretty good pitch to hit. 2-seam fastball, sinking fastball. Get some pretty good action on it. It came in, and Kiner Falefa hit it a little bit off the handle, but he looped it into right center field effectively to get the run in and move the man from first to third. See if Ronald Guzman can keep it going right here.
So Gallo third, Kiner Falefa first. Guzman, who had a base hit in the 4th inning, watches a strike. So Rangers hitters have converted in their last 2 opportunities with runners in scoring position. Runner goes from first. That one shanked over to the left side, out of play. Kiner Falefa will return. Well, there's Gallo. A walk, and then went first to third on the Kiner Falefa hit. Kiner Falefa runs again, and they're not going to bother throwing. That's a stolen base. So now a base hit would play to pair. Chance for a potentially big inning here. Bouncer left side, and Simeon on the backhand will throw it high. Guzman, though, runs into the tag, and the inning is done. Boy, that one nearly a disaster. The Rangers don't play to pair. Contributions from Jurickson Profar, Nomar Mazara, and Isaiah Kiner Falefa. Rangers have the lead.
seen the defensive glove and also the defensive legs of one Ronald Guzman over the last couple of days. And last night he dazzled in a way that few of us have seen with the full splits all the way down to the ground. I asked Ronald about that in the clubhouse today. He seemed to think it was no big deal. And apparently he's shown that off many times in the minor leagues. And, you know, it begged the question, Dave, that's clearly Guzzi's. That's his party trick. So what would your party trick be, Dave, Tom?
Yeah, that is a very valid question, Emily. Mine is not the splits. I
have to admit, I'm pretty boring. I don't know that I have any.
Probably breakdancing, Emily. I'm a pretty good breakdancer. Do the worm and the backspin.
I can't claim to have one, Em. But since you asked us, how about you?
Yeah.
So I've got a couple. Ice Ice Baby, that's my go-to. Yeah, it's kind of worn out, actually. And then I can name the 50 states in alphabetical order to a song in under a minute.
That's impressive.
There you go.
That's very impressive.
I don't think we have time for me to show it off, but maybe sometime when the three of us are together.
Yeah.
That's
definitely a party I want to go to.
I think a minute, so there's going to be games down the road where we have a minute. So I would definitely brush up on that.
I'll keep that in my back pocket, Tom.
Okay.
Maybe if we could get the tune, one of us could learn how to play it on, you know, a harmonica or a recorder or something. We could accompany her. Chapman is 0 for 2. And Chavez puts it in there for a strike. Pop up and a ground out for the A's third baseman, and he swings and misses here. It's a full count.
Oh, it's a nice opportunity for Jesse Chavez to come into a game and get himself a win. He can pretty much pitch in this game as long as he's effective.
Good job battling back here against Chapman. All behind 3-0. Now a full count. Chapman's been on a little bit of a slide lately, and he swings and misses strike 3. So Chavez's first strikeout of the night, 2 away.
Let's check out the pitch at 89 miles an hour. Might have been cut fastball. Fastball with a little bit of action on it that looked like it might have a negative effect on Chapman in that swing. Threw it right by him.
So Mark Canha takes one just a little wide. Canha is flied out and struck out. And it's 1-1. Canha batting 7th tonight. It's dropped his average just a little bit, all the way down to 326. We've referenced on more than one occasion, this is an Oakland offense that has been about as hot as any in the American League. Last 12 games as a team. Team batting average of 297, and they've averaged almost 7 runs per game during that 12-game run. 1-2, and Canha just does get a piece. Chavez in for Doug Fister. Fister went 4 2/3. 2 runs on 4 hits, walked 3, struck out 3. Jesse has retired all 3 hitters he has faced so far. And a breaking ball, strike 3 called. Back-to-back strikeouts for Jesse Chavez. So we'll go to the last of the 6th inning. Rangers by 1. Destinations package offers you the chance to hit the road with the Texas Rangers. I'm going to tell you all about it. This inning is on Centeno. Tees off on that one. Deeply foul. So Rangers destinations, it's first-class hotel accommodations. You get a meet and greet with a Rangers player. There's a VIP ballpark tour and a whole lot more. This year you can join us in Seattle, May 29th through the 31st. Rangers and Mariners at Safeco. So if you're interested, check it out, texasrangers.com/destinations.
Most of the people I run into on the road on those destination trips speak quite highly of them. There was a terrific one in Boston one year, and I think there's been one to Seattle before, if I'm not mistaken, and that's a great place to go, especially if it's hot in Texas. You might catch some beautiful days in Seattle.
Roller down to first base, and Centeno retired to start the bottom of the 6th. I think maybe Chicago last year, and I believe Boston is on the schedule again this year.
Is it? Well, if you're a baseball fan and you love baseball and you haven't seen Fenway Park, that would be a great way to do it. Tremendous city, great restaurants, beautiful hotel, and a park that, again, if you're a baseball fan, you have to see once. Now, don't expect the comforts of a brand new ballpark. I get that from people sometimes. Well, I heard you talk about Fenway, but when we got there, the aisles weren't that wide. There wasn't that much room between the seat in front of me and me. The concourse didn't have a lot of room. Well, you know, that's the case, but it's Fenway Park. It's baseball history. It's where Ted Williams played. And I think if you go there with a sense of baseball history, you'll walk away being glad you went there. It's my favorite place. I know that.
It's hard not to feel it when you walk in.
The atmosphere. There's a sports atmosphere the minute you walk into Boston. If it's hockey, if it's the hockey playoffs or the basketball playoffs, the Celtics and the Bruins are in it, you'll feel it. But when you walk into Fenway Park, you just feel baseball.
2-2. That is outside. Yeah, I feel like with Fenway and with Wrigley, and I've done a lot of games at Wrigley, you know, when you walk around through the stands and you step on those steps between the aisles, and the way that they bow down, just worn down from well over 100 years of people trudging up and down, you just get that, feeling. You just somehow connected to the millions of people who have watched from Babe Ruth to Ted Williams, etc. at these ballparks.
Yeah, and that's the way you feel when you leave the clubhouse and walk down the tunnel to get to the dugout. It feels like that wooden plank on top of the cement that clicks every time you step on it is the same feel, the same sound, and the same smell that it has been for 100 years when you walk out there. And it probably is, for that matter.
Yeah, I was going to say,
not much has changed in that tunnel or in the dugout. I think every time I've sat in that dugout, I've hit my head when I stood up. At least once every time into Boston. I think you would remember it.
Now, when you were playing, did it carry the same meaning?
Oh yeah, I loved going to Boston. I grew up, as we were talking the other day, I grew up a Yankee fan, but my rest of my family was Red Sox fans. Went there as a kid, and I can remember walking in there when I was maybe 8 years old. And when you first see that stadium, you walk in and you see the green grass, and first thing you look for is the green monster. It looks so close because it's so tall. You say to yourself, I could hit one out there that far. And you probably couldn't when you're 8 years old, but as you get a little older, in your teenage years, you could easily hit one out to the green monster. I saw Ted Williams and Mickey Mantle play there as a kid, and that was a huge thrill. The seats now that are not that easy to get are the ones on top of the green monster. There's probably 4 rows of seats up there, and it's kind of high, but not compared to anything like upper decks in other stadiums, but it's so close to the field that they're actually great seats.
Yeah, that's one of those where I'd be very interested to watch a game from there.
I'd love to watch a game from there. I go up there, not every time in, but early in the day, if there's no one there and you don't have anything to do, I like to walk up there, sit down and watch what it looks like, watch batting practice from up there.
7th pitch of the at bat here to DeShields, and he swings and misses, and he strikes out and then throws the bat. A 1-2-3 bottom of the 6th, but the Rangers still lead by 1.
Rangers take on the New York Yankees here at Ballpark.
Visit your local GMC dealer today. Just a little sample of some of the good play we have seen tonight. Rangers with the 1-run lead. Top of the 7th inning. Hey, don't miss the next T-Mobile Friday fireworks. It's going to be May 4th. Coming out to the ballpark. The Rangers and Red Sox. And then stay afterward for another great fireworks show. Go to TexasRangers.com for tickets or call 972-RANGERS. All right, Alex Claudio on the pitch.
Take a look at the pitches for Alex. Fastball, changeup, slider. One of the things that I think the Rangers are encouraging Alex maybe to throw more sinkers, not quite as many changeups. After last year, he certainly established himself as a frontline reliever with that changeup. Hitters had a little more success against his changeup this year, and you have to think as many as he throws. Sometimes they might go up to the plate thinking about looking for that changeup in an at bat, and so maybe he'll throw them off a little bit by throwing a few more sinkers when they're looking for that changeup.
Well, foul ball. And just like that, the count 0-2 on Piscotty. Now look at what the A's have done up and down the lineup. Piscotty has been on twice because he walked along with his base hit. And then Marcus Semien. Those are, you know, the Davis home run, clearly a big moment. But not a lot today. High fly out to short right field. It's Robinson out from second. 1 away. Well, this bullpen has worked hard lately. Look at this. Claudio, 14 appearances out of the bullpen. This, just for reference, is the 26th game of the year for the Rangers. But Bush and Jepson 13 times. Martin 12.
They've got 5 guys. Well, Matt Bush has been sent out, but 5 guys on pace to throw 75 to 83 or 4 games.
Little bouncer by the mound. Robinson charges. A little flip. Whoa. Guzman, nice play to stay with that one and take care of Maxwell.
Yeah, that's one where the right guy hit that one to have it turned into an out. Drew had to come a long way to field that ball, and fortunately you've got Ronald Guzman at first base, who's got a lot of range, long arms. Yeah, that'd be a little bit dangerous. That throw went into the runner. If you have to reach into the runner, and it's Guzman getting hit by Maxwell, that's massive humanity coming together right there.
Two away, and a ground ball to third. Nice.
Looked like Adrian on that one. I thought it was Adrian.
Yeah. 5-pitch inning for Alex Claudio. Fans here will stand and stretch. And of course, we're ready for God Bless America. Here's Chuck Morgan.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise and direct your attention to the area behind home plate and welcome Meg Bress. In honor of the veterans who have served our country and the servicemen and women who are currently stationed at home and around the world, Meg will now perform God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Now pitching for Oakland, number 52, Ryan Booker. Ryan Booker, number 52, now pitching for Oakland. Leading off for the Rangers, right fielder, Shin-Soo Choo.
One-run game as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Rangers took the lead in the 5th.
Yeah, with 2 outs, Jurickson Profar is going to hit a ball to left center field. We're going to see that in a minute.
You just hold your horses. Sorry about that, Tom. I let you into one there. Anyway, Shin-Soo Choo will lead things off here.
I predict we get a chance to see that.
Listen.
Not exactly sure when, but we'll get a chance.
I trust you.
I was all ready to talk about that too. I had all the words prepared.
Kind of excited.
Then it never happened.
There's a strike. 1-1 on Choo. Choo has walked, reached on an error, and struck out. And then you see Buchter's numbers.
Yeah, Buchter's had a nice season. 10 in the 3rd innings. 10 strikeouts. Strikeout per inning. Only lefty in the A's bullpen. Dropped that curveball right on the inside corner.
He takes over here for Kendall Graveman. And Graveman, we talked a lot about the 0-4 start. It's funny, he pitched just long enough to fall behind. Even though it was probably his best outing of the year, Graveman leaves trailing by a run, and now will entrust his bullpen to try and keep it close.
Yeah, I think when you look at Graveman's start today from the A's perspective, you have to be very encouraged, because even though the command wasn't perfect and he walked 4 batters, the stuff was really good. He had a legitimate 92 to 95 mile an hour sinker. Not the best command of it, but it was a really effective pitch. And the pitch that he's throwing more now than maybe in the past, it was his changeup. That was a really good pitch for him. A lot of movement on it. Got a lot of outs with it. So 7 strikeouts in 6 innings. You have to think much improved stuff from what he was throwing the first 3 or 4 starts of the season.
Tom, I just finished fixing the VCR. Here we go. There's that 5th inning.
Back to the 5th inning. 2 outs. Jurickson Profar shoots one into left center field. The outfielders come together. He turns it into a double. Nomar Mazara rips the ball again with 2 outs into right field. Jurickson scored. Nomar takes second on the throw. Joey Gallo walks. And then Isaiah Kiner-Falefa makes some contact on a 2-0 pitch, drops it into right center field. And the Rangers pick up the 2 runs that they needed to take the lead in this game. And as we're talking, it looks like the trainer is going to come out and check on Buchter.
Yeah, that didn't look right there. Just the way Buchter's communicating. Bob Melvin, the skipper, there too with his hoodie, and yeah, Melvin shaking his head. My guess is that Buchter, that may be it for him. Yeah, they're not even going to bother.
Well, they lost Blake Triton the other night on a line drive. I'm going to take a replay of the last pitch. Let's see. Obviously discomfort. Very effective pitch for strike 3, but you can tell he was not feeling that great after he threw the pitch.
So all the time needed with Buchter out, an injury replacement coming on here with the 7th.
story. If they want to keep their guys, they'll be able to do it.
Well, Emilio Pagan is the replacement for Buchter with one out here in the 7th inning, and he will face Jurickson Profar. 11th outing this year for Pagan. Meanwhile, Profar had a double in the 5th inning, and that started the big 2-run rally for the Rangers that have put them in front. 2-0. Good fastball. 2-1 the count. So both teams into the bullpen. Not a big surprise there. 7th inning, and it's been pretty rare this year that we have not seen the bullpens in the 7th inning, or 6th inning for that matter. More and more that has become the case, not just with the Rangers or Oakland, but with every team. Profar sends that one foul and deep out of play. Oh,
keep on going, big guy.
There we go. I think he likes it. Oh, they've got 2. That's a big night up there.
Sure is.
Roller second base. Jed Lowry right on top of it. And that is the 2nd out of the inning. Well, Tom, good news. Texas Chili Company, $1 hot dog night. Another one right around the corner. Wednesday, May 9th. Rangers and Tigers. Come on out to the ballpark. A 105 game. And enjoy Ballpark hot dogs for just $1 each. Go to TexasRangers.com for tickets or call 972-RANGERS. Baseball in the afternoon and hot dogs. Can't beat it. It's $1 hot dog night here tonight.
There's one that looked just like our advertisement.
Yeah.
Had ketchup and mustard on it.
Mazzara, and he takes one low for a ball. I mentioned that the Rangers rallied there in the 5th inning against Graveman with 2 outs. It was a Profar double. Mazzara then drove him home with a hit. Gallo walked. Kiner Falefa with an RBI single. Since that single, though, nothing doing. They haven't had a base runner. 1-1 to Nomar. After this one, tomorrow, a day off. Rangers will travel in the late afternoon. Head up to Canada. Start a series with the Blue Jays on Friday. And then after that, off to Cleveland. So, little road trip coming up for the Rangers. Don Wakamatsu and Jeff Bannister maybe talking a little strategy here for these late innings. Bottom of the 7th in a 1-run game. Well, they might have just been joking around. Yeah, they're joking around. I hope there haven't been too many moments of levity down there. It's been a tough start. A lot of tense games. What was the last laugher the Rangers won? We had one this year?
I haven't had one.
No, this has been a tough homestand. I'm trying to think. There was a 7-2 win at Tampa Bay. Not so sure I'd call it a laugher. Two pitch, a swing and a miss. So Pagan comes on following Buchter, and they make light work of the Rangers in the 7th. We go to the 8th inning in a 1-run game. Over 8.5, and he'll be making his 5th start as well. The opener up in Toronto. And by the way, after that series, sort of another oddity of the schedule, the season series with Toronto will be done. It'll be like, what? Will we be in May? Done with the Blue Jays in April? Weird. Here's Chris Martin.
Well, Chris Martin comes on with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball and a good assortment of sliders and cutters to go along with it. So far, the Ranger bullpen has done a very nice job. Jesse Chavez went 1 1/3, 4 up, 4 down, struck out a couple. And Alex Claudio had a really quick 7th inning, 3 up, 3 down. Pop up in a couple of ground outs. Well, the Rangers trying to hang on and win a ball game to close out this homestand. Chris will have to face probably the toughest part of this order, Semien, Lowry, and Davis. Not probably, definitely the toughest part of this lineup.
You know, we make this claim a lot that when talking about the difference between closers, setup men, that type of stuff, that oftentimes it's the setup man in the 7th or 8th inning who faces the most critical outs. And today, a good example of that is Semien takes strike 1. This would be a big lift for this bullpen if they can get this done tonight.
Definitely would.
And they could use a little booster. Semien with a couple of hits tonight. And he hooks this one on the ground to third base. Kiner Falefa throws that one away. Backed up by Robinson. He'll go to second base, and that one almost gets away. Profar, good job of leaving the bag to get it. But Marcus Semien reaches on the error and goes all the way to second base.
Yeah, Isaiah has been very steady defensively. This one just sails on him. Had plenty of time to make the play. Fielded it cleanly, and the ball just sailed way off to the right. And luckily this one, which sailed off to the right, was able to be corralled by Jurickson and Profar. Otherwise, maybe Semien ends up in third.
This is
with a 1-run lead. That was not a good start to the 8th inning.
No, and it looked for a moment like it was going to be. Nice put out of Semien. That would have been a wonderful way to get it going. Instead, he's a tying run in scoring position with nobody out. And the hottest hitter for this first month of the season in the American League at the plate. Lowry walked his last time up. Flied out the previous 2 trips. Oakland 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position tonight. And that one lined foul. 0-2. Martin a chance to put Lowry away right here. The 0-2 pitch. Fly ball, center field. The Shields won't have to take it deep. Makes the catch. Simeon going to try for third. Here's a throw, the tag, and they got him!
Right on the money. They challenged Delino in center field, who, the way this ball was hit, had a good opportunity to set his body to make a good throw. And he threw a one-hop strike right on the money. You see him get his momentum coming forward. Here's the one-hop throw, easy to handle, and there's the tag. What a huge throw to get the lead runner in a one-run ball game. If Simeon is safe at third, now there's a man on third base and one out. Instead, you get one of the hottest hitters in the American League to pop up to center field, and Delino turns it into a double play. That was the play of the game right there.
How about Delino's impact since coming off the DL?
Well, we've seen the catch, now the throw.
Man, excellent work. Another outfield assist for him. So the bases are empty, 2 gone. But still plenty of danger. Chris Davis, 1-0 pitch, a big swing and a miss.
Well, there's 2 players who feel great after that play. Obviously, Delino feels great to have made that throw, but Isaiah Kiner-Falefa feels even better than he does to erase the errant throw.
Yep, good tag down there at third base. 1-1. Upstairs. You know, for Kiner-Falefa tonight, his first big league start at third base. We've seen him start at short and at second. Now tonight at third. You look over at second base. Drew Robinson today. It's just his 6th big league start at second base.
Yeah, never having been an infielder, I'm not sure the impact of playing a week or so at second base and then going over to third base, how much of a difference that is. Obviously, it's a big difference throwing across the diamond, so you have to think it'll take a little while for Isaiah to get used to that longer throw from third over to first. Drew is used to playing a number of different positions: shortstop, third base, second base, outfield positions.
2-2. They want it up, and it is up. Martin upset with himself that that one got away from him, and it's a full count. When you talk about, you know, the young players who we did not expect at this point of the season to be contributing like they are. For Guzman right there, this is his 9th major league start. At first, you have 3 guys on your infield, all with fewer than 10 big league starts at their positions. And they're, you know, they're hanging right in there. I mean, even Profar at shortstop, it's only his 42nd start at shortstop.
Yeah, under circumstances that went in the exact opposite direction, you could see that infield as the AAA infield.
Yeah.
Would have been a little bit more difficult to get Jureks in there without any options.
Andrews on the DL for the first time in his career. 3-2 pitch. That's fouled away. Rugi on the right of your screen. Odor on the DL. The hamstring for Beltre. Unbelievable collection of injuries in these first 25 games of the season. Also some pretty radical hair right there for Elvis. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Wow, what an 8th inning. Chris Martin punches out Chris Davis, and it's a scoreless 8th.
Well, the throw of the game, the play of the game. Get a play at third base for the second out of the 8th inning in a 1-run ball game. He's pumped up, and so are his teammates.
will lead things off. 2 for 2 with a walk. Emilio Pagan stays in the game for Oakland. And his first pitch, that one out to left center, drops in, base hit, and Gallo is 3 for 3 tonight.
Look at the night that Joey Gallo has had. Second inning, leading off the inning, gets his first bunt base hit. Then he rips a ball into right field for a base hit, goes first to third on this looper to left center field by Ronald Guzman, would later score on a fielder's choice by Centeno. Couple of hits, and now he's led off the 8th inning with a soft single over shortstop. Off-speed pitch off the end of the bat. So 3 singles tonight. 1 a bunt single, scored a run, and walked. Joey's been on all 4 times he's been up, and 3 times he's led off an inning with a single.
And you know, all 3 of those hits came on the very first pitch of the at-bat. I mean, he's been in attack mode as Pagan puts one in there for a strike on Kiner Falefa. Third time in Gallo's career. Of course, the thing too is those 3 singles. Ooh, the race between singles and home runs in the career tightening up a little bit. Toss over there on Gallo, who does have a stolen base. Well, Kiner Falefa, a base hit, a walk. He is flied out tonight as well. Pagan came in last inning, a Profar ground out, struck out Mazzara. He's given up the base hit. Now the 1-strike pitch, bouncer right side. Lowry to his left, goes back to second for 1. The relay won't be there in time. Kiner Falefa beats it out. This replaces Gallo at first base on the fielder's choice.
First baseman,
I invite you to host your next group or company outing at a Rangers game. Groups of 20 or more enjoy significant savings off gate prices. You can add on picnic areas, meal deals, or other experiences to make your group outing even more memorable. Go to TexasRangers.com/groups and plan your group outing today. All right, 1 out. Here is Guzman. Condor has a base hit in 3 tries. Pagan very concerned earlier about Gallo, and now with Kiner Falefa. His pitch off the plate for a ball. Pagan's had some struggles this year. In fact, he has allowed 4 home runs, tied for most among American League relievers. He's given up runs in 6 of his 10 relief outings this year. He has a tendency to leave one up every now and then, and Guzman, even though to this point in his career wouldn't really be marked as a big-time home run hitter, he is certainly a guy who can hit big home runs. He already has 1 in his short major league career. That one came in Houston. The same night, he tied the game of the 8th inning with that home run, and then later in that same game in the 10th inning had the game-winning hit. Another visit between pitches. Maxwell and Pagan agreeing on what they want to do here. The 2-0 on the way. And a low strike call.
Right Down at the bottom of the strike zone. Pagan's got a pretty good arm, although he has struggled this year coming into this game. He pitched 11 innings and given up 4 home runs and 16 hits. A little more success tonight than he's had throughout the month of April.
Two one. Ooh, similar spot. That one might actually have been a little bit better. 2-2 the count.
One before it was a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. That was an 87-mile-an-hour changeup. And Ronald Guzman, you say, well, they may have been strikes, but wasn't much I could do with them. Perfect pitches at the bottom of the zone.
Runner goes. This ball hit wild down the right field line and headed to the corner. It's going to drop in, base hit. Kiner Falefa around third. He'll score easily. And the Condor will land at third. His first big league triple. And he makes it a 4-2 Rangers lead.
Well, that's what you were hoping for late in the ball game, that the Rangers would add to the lead just to get a little bit more of a buffer between them and the A's. Kiner Falefa on base on the fielder's choice, running on the play, and Ronald finally gets a pitch that he could handle. The 2 strikes were right at the bottom of the zone. That was a fastball more to his liking. He hits it down in the corner. Piscotty has a little bit of a problem coming up with the ball. Turns into a triple and an RBI for Ronald Guzman. Big hit in the 8th inning.
So now they bring the infield in with Guzman 90 feet away. Juan Centeno 0 for 3 so far today. Has an RBI ground out earlier and takes ball 1. Boy, a big run in this inning. And 1 more would be huge. Not real sure this is the combination that you would necessarily want for a squeeze here. It's not out of the question. 1-1 the count. I don't know if you want to send Guzman necessarily into that. Centeno, you figured, would be a decent bat handler and have that ability to put it down. Well, that triple by Guzman. Steve Hunt, I mean, amazing ability. How about this right here, this little note? First triple since September of last year. 47 games the Rangers have gone without a triple.
Wow.
1-2 the count. Now, they probably had an inside the park home run since then, but no triples. Gallo
Well, Matt Chapman has had 3 in the month of April.
Yeah, how about that?
And Evan Gaddis a couple of years ago had 8 or 9 in 1 year himself. Think about that.
That had to be one of the great statistical aberrations of all time. Everybody up close. The 1-2, and Centeno swings and misses. Got out in front of that one. Strikes out for the 2nd out of the inning.
Well, Juan was a little over anxious in that at bat. Not over anxious, but aggressive. And Pagan took advantage of it by pulling the string on him a couple of times and got him out in front. The Rangers have a big run this inning. That was a big out for Pagan with a man on third and 1 out.
Yeah, it was, and it still leaves 1 more at bat here and a chance for Drew Robinson to come up with a big hit for himself as much as anything. 0 for 3 here tonight. And he takes off the plate. Two hits in the inning. Guzman at third. Pagan, boy, very deliberate. Rangers got a run in the 4th, 2 in the 5th. And another big insurance run here in the 8th inning. Two and 0. So Robinson, we mentioned tonight is 6th major league start at second base. Rangers have used him a lot in center field. Took over there when DeShields went down. He even took over at shortstop the night the Rangers lost Elvis Andrus in Tampa. 2-0. Just a little bit tight. Ball 3. Now here's my question, Tom. It's been a real struggle. A lot of strikeouts. He's fallen into a scuffle here. Would you let him lose 3-0?
Sure, I definitely would. I hope you get a fastball to hit. Got a man on third base, definitely. And hope that he hits one right off the barrel of the bat and just takes off from there.
Takes one down the middle for a strike.
The way he took that pitch, it looked like he had the opportunity to swing at it if he chose to. Didn't look like he was taken all the way.
Three and 1 could still get something very good right here. Off the plate, so he'll take the walk and turn the lineup over again to DeShields. So Pagan has to do a little more heavy lifting here in this 8th inning.
The center fielder, Gallo, DeShields.
Scott Emerson out there. Make sure everything's all right. Oh, they do get some activity in the bullpen. Yeah, Bassett been warming up out there. I don't think we've seen Chris Bassett in this series. So Delino is 0 for 3, but with the walk. Has men on the corners. Well, some of the young Rangers have really combined to do a great job tonight. Joey Gallo, Ronald Guzman, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa combined to go 6 for 10 tonight. A couple of runs and 2 RBIs. That word on Ryan Buchter, by the way, left the game with shoulder stiffness. Shields takes a strike. 1-1. Cool night tonight here at Globe Life Park. At the rainstorm sweep through this afternoon and temperatures drop quickly. Hands have hung in there nicely though as DeShields fouls that back. 1-2 the count. Just the 4th game back for Delano. Came back on Sunday, went 0 for 4, but stole a home run. Went right up over the wall in center field, made a spectacular catch. Today does not have a hit, but maybe came up with a defensive play of the week for the Rangers anyway.
Yeah, for sure. The Rangers need a win after losing the first 2 games of the series. It's a 1-run game. Marcus Semien, who runs well, is at second base. Took a perfect throw to get him on that fly ball by Lowry, and he made it. Pagan works very deliberately with men on base.
He's going right on the commissioner's naughty list. I mean, his pace of play is offensive. Waiting for Judge Schmales to walk out and say, well, we're waiting. Swing and a miss. And DeShields strikes out to end it in the 8th. Rangers pick up a big insurance run, though. And now, see if they can hold it in the 9th.
To these Ranger rookies and the rest of this young lineup. Hi there, Dana Larson, along with the Hall of Famer Pudge Rodriguez and David Murphy. We'll have the postgame show coming up here in just a bit. Pudge, what are you looking forward to talking about?
Well, the middle of the night. I talked about that before the game. A great job from 3 and 4, and very good at bat for the guys today, man.
And if you combine that offensive effort with a great effort by the bullpen and a huge play by Delino DeShields, we're 3 outs away from a win.
Ooh, David, I like that idea. Let's hope we'll talk to everybody coming up here in just a bit. Dave and Tom?
Yeah, I like that idea too. Keone Kela, by the way, coming out throwing strikes here in the 9th inning. Gets ahead 0-2 against Matt Olson. He'll have Olson, Chapman, and Canna. You can see it's a pretty simple mix. And the curveball misses in. Rangers trying to salvage a win in this series and send Oakland off on this long road trip that they began here. Send them off with the loss tonight. Out of the way, it stays 1-2.
Well located pitch right there at 96 miles an hour, right in on the fist. When Keone gets 2 strikes on a hitter, and he has this good command, good stuff, hitter's usually in trouble because he can go with that high mid-90s fastball or break off that sharp breaking curveball down and out of the strike zone like that, and they really don't have much of a chance.
Strikes out Olson to start the 9th inning.
This curveball breaks a lot, and it really breaks right straight down. That one almost looked like it broke down and to the right. Most curveballs not only go down, but they go right-handed from right to left quite a bit. His goes straight down.
So big K to start the 9th. Now Chapman, and that one runs way in, 96 miles per hour.
We used to throw that pitch like in the Little League. We call it our drop ball. Throw it just like your curveball, just straight over the top. It's hard to make it come straight down like that, though.
2-0. Were you able to move the ball a little bit? Because you clearly would have pitched, right, as a kid.
Yeah, I had a pretty good curveball. I didn't have much control, though. My pitch count would have gotten up there in a hurry.
There's a fastball for a strike. 2-1 to Chapman.
I'm sure I pitched a game or two in high school of more than 160 or 70 pitches.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We only played 9 innings in the playoffs, but I had a couple of games in the playoffs that went 9 innings and, you know, 10 or 11 strikeouts and 8 or 9 walks.
There's that beautiful curve in there for a strike. 2-2 on Chapman.
Nice.
Back with a fastball. Now Doug Fister started it. Couldn't quite get through the 5th inning, but then Jesse Chavez, Alex Claudio, Chris Martin, and now Kella. Two. This is Badley. Kella got his 3rd save on Sunday against Seattle, the scoreless 9th inning. He's been pretty good. And Jeff Bannister has done a really good job of spreading his work around a little bit, keeping him fresh. 3-2 pitch. Got him looking.
That curveball is really good tonight. You saw Olsen swing at the one out of the strike zone, and Chapman just took a couple of them. They were right in the middle of the plate, but they broke so sharply. And as a hitter, you have to be aware of the 96 or 7 mile an hour fastball. And there's a good look at the spin, which causes that to break right straight down. That's a great look right there that the hitter would see. No doubt about whether it was a strike or not.
Strike to Canna, who's 0 for 3. Foul ball. So 1 strike away from taking the finale here. 4-2 Rangers lead. Excellent work by the bullpen tonight. Bullpen has not allowed a hit. 0-2. Lofted, left side of the infield. Kiner Falefa tucks it away, and the Rangers win it 4-2. Handshakes and high fives out at midfield, and the Rangers win the final one in this series and can enjoy their day off tomorrow. Kellick picks up his 4th save of the year.
And we'll take a look at the night that Joey Gallo had tonight. He got his first bunt hit of the year to lead off the 2nd inning. Nicely done down the 3rd base line. The 4th inning starts the inning off with a base hit. Takes 3rd on a single, scores on a fielder's choice. This is the base hit by Guzman to left field. Moves Joey over to 3rd. He'd score on a fielder's choice by Juan Centeno. Joey also had a soft single into left field to lead off the 8th inning. So 3 times he led off an inning with a single. He scored a run. He also walked, was on base 4 times in this ball game. Nice day. Good day for the on-base percentage for Joey tonight. And a nice win for the Rangers all the way around.
That could not have worked out a whole lot better for Jeff Bannister and crew. In fact, Joey Gallo standing by right now with Emily Jones.
Thank you very much, Joey Gallo. A typical line for you, 3 for 3 with 3 singles, right?
Yeah, pretty typical night for me at the field today. No, I mean, I don't know, laying that bunt down first at bat, kind of opened up the field for me a little bit as well. Started to feel good, feel confident, and I mean, it was a strange day definitely for me.
Well, we talked about this actually before the game. You said you were prepared to lay down the bunt in the right situation. What was it about that situation?
I mean, I just felt like, you know, he was working pretty well in that first inning, and I just thought, hey, if I go out there and put a bunt down, get on first base, make something happen when you're leading off the inning like that. So I just went up there. I'm like, hey, I'm going to lay one down right here. Why not? You know, see what happens. And he actually got to it pretty well. So I was a little nervous there, but I was able to beat out.
With all the injuries to this team, you're now like one of the veteran leaders in the club.
One year vet.
What's it like? You know, but really, when you think about games played, experience out here, you're now among, you know, at the top. What's it like for you to be in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, we still have those veteran guys in the clubhouse and in the dugout, so they help us out a lot. But I just try to, you know, I knew how it was when I first came up. And, you know, I know it's tough when you're struggling or if you make an error. Just tell them keep their head up. You're going to help win us a game, you know, later in the game. So we have that chemistry with the young guys. So, you know, we're like a brotherhood. We've been playing with each other for so long that it's just kind of second nature for us to just go out and we're just going to compete every night.
Joey, thanks for the time. We appreciate it. We'll send it back now to you.
Great job, Emily. Thank you. And this will be a fun one to break down tonight. Dana Larson, David Murphy, and Pudge will be back to do just that. For Tom Grieve and Emily Jones, I'm Dave Raymond, inviting you to stay with us. More coverage of tonight's Rangers win right after this.